We had somebody ask what the American Fencing Academy was like, because I mean there are not very many people left who attended it, and so this person wanted to know a couple of things. They wanted to know what was the experience like going to the fencing academy, and what were the classes like. So if you could share some stories from your time at the academy.
Yeah, I got a few stories. What was it like? I would say it was intense and exhausting and exhilarating. What you have to understand is this, most people go to school, they take a class, class is 45 minutes, the bell rings, you get your ticket punched, you move on. This was not that. This wasn't classes. This was an apprenticeship, and we immersed ourselves in the academy. We didn't go there to take a class. We lived at the academy. Typically, I would get there at 7:30 in the morning. If I was going to have a lesson before, that's another story, but then I would get there an hour earlier. But if there was no lesson, I'd get there about 7:30. And I would get home probably 11:30, midnight, something like that. Sometimes a little earlier. During that time, I would grab lunch. Had about 15 minutes to grab some lunch. And at dinner, I'd just come home and eat whatever leftovers there were, and I'd crash and get up and do it again the next day. Rinse and repeat. So yeah, man, it was intense. The day kind of went like this. At around 8 o'clock in the morning, we would convene, and Maître Gillet would present us with a topic. And that could be anything. I mean anything. Prise de fer, parries, simple attacks, compound repos, counter time, whatever you got. And he would set us up with a technique to practice, and that would be the focus of our lesson for that day, see? And that would be about an hour. At 9 o'clock, there were 4 guys in my crew, in my class. So from 9 until noon, we took turns giving and taking lessons. So I would practice giving the lesson that Jean-Jacques had told us about. We would practice doing this and emphasize this in your lesson. So I would give a lesson to each of my 3 classmates and take a lesson from each of my 3 classmates, right? So that was every morning. That was our foundational work. That's what we were there to do. And then we would practice doing that. If you want to be good at giving lessons, you better give a lot of lessons. I think I gave 1,000 lessons before I gave a good one. At noon-ish, the members of the Cornell teams would come in, and we would give them individual lessons in foil, saber, épée, the 3 weapons of fencing at that time. And I usually would give, that went until about 2:30. So I could give a bunch of lessons during that time, allowing a half an hour. So that's, do the math. At 2:30, 4 days a week, we taught the PE classes, the beginning fencing PE classes. And there were a couple of sections of that. So we'd get done with that around 5 or 5:30. As we were getting done with that, the team was coming back into the South for their group training, for their team training, which we would conduct, or help conduct and participate in, and however we were assigned to do. Let's suppose, women's foil was a fencer short, so I might be assigned to, join the pool of women's foil and fence with them for the evening or something like that. It could be anything. or we just, did whatever the boss needed done. So that went until about 7, sometimes 7:30, usually 7. After the team split, then there was the Cornell Fencing Club, or the Advanced PE class. They came in from 7 to 9 or so. So we gave individual lessons, we conducted training for them, whatever. Then when that was over, say 10 o'clock or so, then we had some other things to catch up on. We'd have to, of course, clean the cell, be sure it was strike for the next day. There might be other little things that have to be done. There might be weapons to be repaired or such like. And that's what the day was basically like. On the weekends, we were the weekends were for tournament and competition. So that meant if the team has got a thing, you're with the team either on the road or at home, helping manage the team, carry the equipment, whatever it is the coach needs you to do. If you weren't going with the team, you're to find a tournament someplace and either fence in it or officiate at it. And the emphasis was on officiation. You had to be a dead cold, stone cold president de combat. If you couldn't do that, you were not getting out the academy door with a diploma. That's for sure. No matter what else you could do. You could fly like Superman. If you can't direct, you're toast. So we did a lot of that. Also on weekends, we conducted workshops in how to officiate. Did a lot of that kind of stuff, or sponsored little tournaments for our guys at home. But weekends were not off time, which was delightful because I was playing gigs Friday and Saturday nights, and sometimes Sunday afternoons. I had to shoehorn all this together used a lot of Vaseline to get it to squeak in together. What else? So that's a rough picture. There are other details. It was, man, it was good. And after I did that, I decided to go back and study some other things. Went back and got a degree in film production. And after that, then I got a master's in corporate and organizational communication. And after doing Maître Gillet's fencing master program, doing a master's in communication was a fucking vacation. All these other cats are doing this master's degree and saying, "Oh, this work is so hard," and so they say, "Hey, you have no idea, man." Anyway, yeah. So here's a story. Speaking of Maître Gillet, it was in the summertime, and we were doing this workshop, and we were prepping for that, and so he was talking to us, and he's got a saber in his hand. He was particularly good at saber. And there's this fly buzzing around, bothering him, and he's talking to us, and bofka, fly, whoosh. And it won't leave him alone, and it's getting to be quite distracting, and he's talking to us, and blah, 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 blah. And then the fly sits down on the table, and he goes, and swats him with that saber. Boom, just like that, and then goes out. And later on, talking to Steve Cook, and I said, "Did you see him do that thing with the saber?" And he said, "Nope, I did not see that." Anyway, it was I have a lot of Maître stories about Maître Gillet. He was a very good teacher. a very good teacher. I've had a lot of teachers on a lot of different things. And how many of them were really good? 3 or 4. 3 or 4 that were really, really good teachers. And I would put them on that list. And I judged that by my own teaching. When I'm teaching something that he taught me, for example, or I watched him teach other people, and compare how I do it to how he did it, how challenging it is to do it, and how easy he made it look, that's one of the signs right there. That's one of the signs right there. When he makes something look so easy to do, like, it's just this, he would always say, it's just this, right? Right? And then you try and do it and say, holy fuck, how does he do that? Anyway, so yeah, it was like that. You dig?